Many people constantly search for that one thing that will allow them to get in shape. Some go on the ketogenic diet and others go and do some weird CrossFit workouts. In reality, there is basically one thing that can really make a massive impact in people's journey, and it's not what you might think. Before everything else, being in shape is just an effect of a cause. 3 years ago, when I was fat and decided to start training and dieting, I was putting in that cause, and because of that, I'm now in a pretty good shape. I've been doing these things consistently, and doing them consistently is the key for seeing results. But here's the thing: learning how to build habits is in some way learning how to make doing the hard things easier, because once an action is habitual, it does not become easy by itself, but you become stronger, you become more adapted to it. If it is a habit of yours, it means that your mind has adapted to it and is now capable of enduring it consistently in an almost automatic manner. Around 1.5 years ago, I started running. I set myself a challenge of running 3 kilometers every day, and I really didn't want to fail it. So at the first day, I ran these 3 kilometers, I walked some of it. It sucked, but I was over with it. The next day, I did it over again, and the third day, I was pretty demotivated. At the time, I'd already read some books like Atomic Habits and other good books about discipline and building consistency, and I realized that going right now when I feel this demotivation is the key to keep going. So I went even though I felt demotivated, and for the following few days and weeks I stuck to it. But the weird thing was that each day after the 2 weeks point, I felt the obligation to go and do it. It was at the same times and after training in the gym. At the time, I was doing a 6 times per week push-pull leg split, so I added it on top of it. But I felt this sense of obligation, and I was doing it, and it became a lot easier. And that was the sign that it became a habit. Now, I stuck with it for another 2 months from that point, and then I bought this Garmin watch, and I wanted to start and train for a half marathon. Buying it motivated me to do it. But the weird thing was that after signing up for that training plan, for the first week and two, there were a few rest days in that plan. And because of the fact that I was so used to running 3 kilometers every day, I felt so weird, so uncomfortable not going to them. You know that withdrawal feeling of not doing something you're semi-addicted to, let's say playing video games, watching anime. I don't know what you are semi-addicted to. Something you do every day and you have a good time doing, or just something you do every day. That weird feeling when you don't do it, that's the kind of feeling that I felt from and taking a rest day from running. And I genuinely think that almost every person can get to that point in which not training, not eating a pretty decent diet can cause them to feel this feeling. The way to build a habit for those who have not built it yet, who are not consistent in it yet, is to first implement it. That's the first step. The second step is to make it harder, to adapt to a higher degree of effort. And the third step is to keep going forever. Not forever, literally, but just for as long as possible, and as it is smart to do it. The reason why many people fail when they start to implement a habit is because they start too hard. They do a lot of work, they see that influencer, and they use that influencer's effort as an anchor to determine what they should do. And in reality, they are not even remotely close to that influencer who has been training for years, who has been dedicating his life to this thing, to fitness, for example, or for fun. I don't care, right? For whatever. They start with a level of effort that is beyond their capability, their capacity, and because of that, they semi-burn themselves out because, that amount of effort, it is still sustainable if you use enough discipline and are willing to sacrifice enough. But most people, they are not really willing to make the sacrifices to the degree that it requires, and because of that they fail. What I suggest to do is to start by implementing it as a habit with a lower level of effort, so you will actually succeed. So you will not need to use David Goggins levels of discipline. You will just go and implement it, let's say training 3 times per week instead of 6, training 2 times per week instead of 3, training every day for 20 minutes instead of 40 or even 10 minutes, just making sure you implement it as a habit, and then when you reach the point in which you just stick to it, and not, you should not necessarily feel a weird feeling by not doing it, especially if it is really hard for you, but you get somewhat of a weird feeling from the thought of not doing it. And if you reach that point, that's when you know it is time to make it harder, to increase the amount of effort that you do. Runners usually increase their mileage by 10% per week. I would suggest that you do something similar. 5 to 20%, that's how much I would suggest you increase your efforts. If you are willing to make more sacrifices, right, in your life, if you want to sacrifice more time and you're willing to do so, you can do more, right? This is a massive thing. If you're not willing to make a massive sacrifice, you might even need to increase it by less, right? 5%, 3%, or not even increase it. If it works and you get results, that's amazing, right? You might not even need to increase it. Just make sure you do what you can, and then when you reach the point in which you stick to it, you can do it. It's pretty hard and challenging, and you get the results, but at the end of the day it is sustainable. That's when you know it is time to stick to it for as long as possible, to just keep doing it. It is a habit, you have ingrained it in your behavior, and now the only thing that is left to do is to do it consistently over the next few weeks and months, so you will get the amazing results of doing it, right? This video mainly applies to training, but you can do it with other things. The main result of training consistently for months and years is getting jacked. Basically, in a few years or months from now, you will look at your reflection in the mirror and you will realize, oh, I'm pretty jacked, and I can pretty much guarantee to you it will feel pretty good. And that's essentially it. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.